I had a morning walk into the rice field between mountains. Good exercise. The first thing I do in the morning. I should do this every day. Clear up my mind. I came up with interesting ideas, which I don't know if you agree, but I wish I can capture at least some of it. Yesterday, I was talking about buying things at the shop, that it requires lots of talent because there are various food items and drinks to choose, which one to choose, when, how, and what's the inventory in the refrigerator. I don't have much room. So it is an interesting case to figure out how to do it, requiring all my talent. So one point here is whatever we do at each point of making decision, focus everything on it and bring out all the unconscious part of the memories, which item I need, also checking the price, nutrition, and the budget if that's important, and how much you can carry because I have to walk back. So that simple exercise, I require to put everything into it. This may sound weird because you have other things to do, important thing to do in life. You may not be able to spend so much time on it, so you may want to have some convenient way to order by the internet or something. But if you're not in such a situation and you're confined, you have to make the most of what you should do. But life is a process of making the most of what you do at each moment. So the skills to be able to do, whether it's shopping or going out for the kayak, preparing everything, or planning for the trip to Hawaii, which may come in 2 or 3 weeks. Each of those important point in life, we need to, or I wish I can put all the effort to make a good judgment. So it's a series of those judgments we have to make the most of our life. And I talked about the life profile idea, monitoring how I manage my life, and black dot exercise, daily checkup of how things are going and reflect on it. The process is the CAPD, check, act, plan, do. Check what's going on, learn the lesson, figure out what to do, and act on it, and continuously doing it. So that's how we use our mind, also connected to even the unconscious part of it to make the most. So that's Zenkigen, full utilization of our talent. And every moment will be like that. So what I just shared is how to use our brain or our mind and not to be used. Because if we are jumping around, we may not be able to do one thing right, and you go back and forth. what triggered me when I thought about it is my book, the first book called The New Manufacturing Challenge. And that has element of waste elimination and appreciation of people's talent. 7 waste, and I added one more. 7, if I remember, is a waste of processing or inventory or delay. I don't need to go into it. But certain activities, well, I should go into it because it integrates how we may process things. I said manufacturing challenge is manufacturing the value added and how to make the most of how we use our brain. So let me stop and go back if I can remember. I wrote a book about it. A process of not producing a quality, process of waiting, process of transformation, process of pick and choose, maybe there's none of that, and process of inventory, those controlling the inventory. It's like an inventory of your knowledge. So you want to have it certain amount at certain time to make the most of what you've got. I'll post the detail of those 7 waste plus 1, utilizing our talent, in description because I'm not focused on that topic, so let me just move on. So I talked about shopping, but going out kayaking or going to Hawaii and preparing. All the step of those actions, decisions, has to be made right and practice CAPD, check, act, plan, do. Again, with the idea like life profile and black dot exercise. You can check those in my other videos if you search for it. So I use my brain or mind in such a manner, and when I'm doing more and more, put those ideas into practice, your mind gets clearer and clearer. Why? Because you are focusing one thing at a time. Shopping, kayak, trip, and living life. I thought about Charlie Munger's quote. One of them is, I often think about, don't go where you may die. And that can be seen as a way of waste elimination. Not do things that's not meaningful. So you choose or make a right decision as early as possible in a manner that makes sense. So that's the idea of invert. If you want to do something like living long, you avoid doing things opposite of it. So the same is the waste elimination, my first book. It's full of common sense. And I use it, but I don't use it all the time. So this morning, also reflecting those shopping and other stuff, it reminded me, my mind was clear that I don't have to think. And that's a level where we want, so that the decision we make is focused and most important, making the most of each moment for the task we are to do and the process we apply makes sense. So the idea of the invert, Charlie Munger says it's common sense. And it is common sense. But when we use our brain or mind, we just have to practice it. There's a Zen koan related to this I thought about just a few minutes ago. It was Joshu talking to his disciple. I don't remember all the element, but the key point of what I remember is, did you eat your breakfast? So Joshu said. And the disciple said, yes. And then Joshu said, make sure you clean up the dish. And that's the koan. The koan is for you to get the idea without thinking much. So your intuition is in line with what Joshu was pointing, in this case, asking the question and telling what to do. And I think what it signifies is the point of doing the right thing at the right time, the right way. So, Charlie Munger's case, I think he lived his life like that. And in relation to my book, Waste Elimination, I'm keep working on it. There's no end. It's a process of invert, so to speak, like going through the shopping and trip plan and all that. But when you are well organized, you see things better. That's critical. So all these techniques that I wrote in the books and I talk in YouTube is to be practiced. Talk is cheap, but I need to talk, in my case, for my own sake, but hopefully it may remind people to make the most to live their life. Live long, happy, healthy, making right judgment. It's obvious, but for that to happen, mind has to be clear, calm and quiet. So everything has to function. And that's about our construct of mind and body, or mind, heart and body, or brain and heart, whatever you call it. Because there's a misalignment and clarity, so that what goes in the mind may not connect to the heart or the body, and the result is misalignment and creating the bottleneck, not making the right decision at the right time. Life is to make the decision, right decision, at the right time, which is a moment-to-moment practice. And for that to happen, your mind has to be clear. Calm, clear, ideally no mind. If there's some mind movement, observe and let the intuition to make that judgment. If it's important, okay. If not, that's okay. You figure out which box to go. And if it's too much to think, that's another box how to decide. So whether planning a trip, going shopping, and living life, making investment, living healthy and with long life, happily, requires all of this, how to use our brain and listen to our heart. So, what did I say? I cannot summarize. I did summarize. I'm sure there's something missing, but overall, that's what I thought this morning. You may think I have luxury to think like this or behave like this. That could be the case, but another way to look at it is that it requires paying attention to all the activities going on and have the mind clear so that we can make the judgment. So let me just remind you about this Joshua talking to his disciple. Did you eat your breakfast? Yes. Make sure you clean up dishes. Yes. Each step of the way, we act like that. And when it's done, it's done. You move on and make the right movement, judgment as we move on. If you want easy answer off the shelf and practice to live life, it's not easy, very difficult. Because it's a synthesis of all of those that is to happen to live life. I talked about the tree analogy of life, the source of energy coming from the root, core of our being, distributed, spread out to branches and leaves, different branches, and you go back and forth that cycle. PDCA, CAPD, check, act, plan, do. To know which branch is weak or strong, necessary or not, it's a moment-to-moment judgment. Tree does that. The whole tree existence is to do that, relating to the external things happening, but internally processing from the root to the branches and leaves. We are the same. We have different branches about the investment, of planning a trip, or buying the food. Depending on the situation, we move around. And this is such a complex but could be interesting mechanism that we do, and then connect to the root, connect to the heart. And we want to have a calm and quiet mind. Keep addressing issues that is pertinent at the time and to make the most of it. And if you know one thing you can do well, you must be using that process, becoming autonomous, so to speak, but adjusting as needed. And we need to do, or we are equipped to do, because as tree can do that, we are the same living being with a little different DNA structure, but the process is the same. So follow the nature's way, but live in the now.